Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. That's Linda Blair on the screen. She's 3 inches shorter than me and she's 3 years younger than me. When that was taken she was 55 there and she's still a fine looking woman. I've had a serious crush on her ever since I was 21 when I first saw her in the movie Exorcist 2 when she was 18. And apart from her being in the movie, the Pazuzu name for this channel, that's where it comes from. Would I want to get into a relationship with her if I was as rich as I've mentioned on previous videos? Yes, I would. But in the 47 years that's passed since I first saw her on the screen, we've more or less naturally gone different ways, and she's more interested in saving dogs and not dating, and I've just got older, so it wouldn't happen even if I was that rich and our orbits did cross each other, sorry. But anyway, never mind. Now, as you know, the birth rate in America has been declining, and this is starting to have an effect on the US education system, because looking around over the weekend I found some interesting things. First one is this. As you can see, it's the Brookings Institute report, and this is predominantly about the African American part of American society. Now, the only thing associated with a low birth rate is this bit. Some closures are often unavoidable. Many districts close schools due to low enrollments, which means there's not enough children enrolling in them. And then it just goes on about the costs of money and environment and the areas where these black schools are in black neighborhoods. Now, this was done on June the 25th, 2020. Now, fast forward to January the 18th, 2024 in Youth Today, and I found this exclusive data: thousands of schools at risk closing due to enrollment loss. Now, if you type in birth, this is the only link with the low birth rate. Because of its size, California is the most schools where environmental loss hits at least 20% during the pandemic. Over 1,400 high-price areas like Silicon Valley reflect or cost the host of recent demographic trends, including record low birth rates and limited housing markets. Now it goes on to the big districts, big declines. Now, if you go down that list, you see the various areas of America and the percentage of share of schools with a 20% decline and the number of schools with a 20% decline. Now, if you take a step back, all these districts that it's listed, say that one, Milwaukee Public Schools, WI, that could be, I don't know what WI state it is, that one, Houston Independent School District, TX. Now, is feminism predominantly in this area? I don't need no men. If the women in this area are not bothering with guys because they're so picky, then naturally the birth rate in these areas are going to go down, and thus affecting the number of children that's going to attend the schools. And then it's small districts disrupted. In small schools, in small schools, even a slight change in staffing or environment can be disruptive. And then if you drop down, send to the neighborhoods, lots of yada yada about it. But this is, as you can see, a map of America, and this is the schools, percentage of district schools with decline of 20% or more. Now, if you look at the map of America, is the feminism and the feminist mind virus predominantly in the areas where it's been affected. They see in Utah, if you drop on that list, where is it now? Granite School District, Utah, it's total of schools 67, number of schools with a 20% decline 18, share of schools with a 20% decline 27%. Now, is feminism predominantly in that area? You tell me. I'm not an American, so I wouldn't know. Now, where is it? If you click on that, which I did earlier on, come on, you get the Pew Research Center long-term decline in fertility and what it means for state budgets. So if you click on birth, you got 51 links with birth rate, and you go down, fewer births could lead cost savings. 43 states recorded the lowest rate general fertility rate, which represents an annual birth of per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44 in the last 3 decades in 2020. And every state except North Dakota experienced losses, so there must be a baby boom in North Dakota. And then it goes on about it, general fertility rates across America. But anyway, that's youth today. Fast forward to where is it? June the 25th last year. A perfect storm could change America's public schools for years to come. Once again, you go fine, birth, and then it drops down to that. Some small New England towns with sprawling western cities, school districts are grappling with a financial reckoning caused by what some described as a perfect storm. Sluggish birth rates and shift towards other education settings. That could be home education, because the American education system in schools are not teaching the pupils anything apart from woke nonsense and rubbish, which isn't going to do them any good whatsoever. And then it says, have led to declining enrollment in public schools. The federal government's pandemic aid package is expiring later this year, and inflation has saddled districts with higher costs for everything from classroom supplies to employee health care. A lot of these articles predominantly focus on money and just the odd thing about sluggish birth rates. Now if you drop down, it's more yada yada yada. And the Morris Administrative Center, where is that? Superintendent of Wichita Public Schools. I have no idea where Wichita is. You being Americans, you would know. And then more yada yada. American school system. Different from it over here in Britain when I was at school. And more yada yada, and that's Christian Science Monitor. Fast forward again to 4th of January this year. This is American Education News Source. Education stories we're watching in 2025. Once again, if you go for fine birth, the declining birth rates, gentrification, high housing prices, and more families opting for private school, and some homeschooling. That's the only notice of homeschooling I've found, have all played a role. Now if you click again, there's only that about declining birth rates, and already leaders in cities like Denver, Columbus, Ohio, and Rochester, New York have voted to close schools. Philadelphia and Memphis are making plans to do the same. Now, what's the feminine percentage in those states and those cities? In the case of PS25 in Brooklyn, New York, illustrates the problem. New York City spends $45,420 per child to keep 52 student school open, yet it struggles to afford art, music or after-school programming. But if there's no babies being born, then there won't be anybody going into these schools. So they'll be saving some money that way. Now that's just America. Over here, it's the same thing. I found this in BBC News. This was done on 25th of April this year. 2 more schools to close amid birth rate decline. So once again, if you click on birth, you get 3 links. The heading, that there, and there it follows the decision this week to close 4 primary schools in neighbourhood Borough Hackney amid a continuing fall in birth rates across London. And if you drop down, it says research local government body, local councils found there's been a 20% fall in the birth rate between 2012 and 2022. Now, as you know, MGTOW kicked off properly in 2000. It started becoming visible in 1990, but 2000 is when it really kicked off. But 2012, I think, was when fourth wave feminism kicked off. And in the 10 years, we got the low birth rate because women have been too picky. Now, it's not just here in Britain or America. The South Korea is facing a dire crisis, as I found this on the Independent, a leftish British newspaper. The company closes 50 schools because of its birth rate crisis. This was done 26th of February this year. And this is the only bit. 50 schools closing in South Korea due to declining birth population, consequences of the low birth rate. The majority is closing in rural areas outside the cities, raising concerns about education disparities. That's another thing. If there's the rural schools closed, but the ones in the cities are getting enough pupils, then you're going to get an education gap, which means political problems for the ruling parties. South Korea's fertility rate has fallen below 1 child per woman, leading to a demographic crisis the government has labelled a national emergency. That's yet to come to America and here in Europe. Despite government incentives, birth rate continues to decline. Experts predict halve the population by 2100. Well, I'll be long dead and gone by then, so won't really affect me. And the impact of low birth rate is evident in the education system, which is here, here in America, over in America I should say, and there, and over here in Britain, with schools merging or closing, universities struggling with low enrollment. Now, no one addresses the real elephant in the room. That is women not wanting to go with guys in their own sexual market level. They're only getting too picky. They only want to go with Chad and Tyrone and Ramond, the men that they really want, but the guys don't want them because they have options. And as a result, we've got this perfect storm coming here in the black neighbourhoods. Some closures are unavoidable. Districts closed due to low enrolments. And then it's coming into predominantly white neighbourhoods. Thousands of schools at risk of closing. And it's the perfect storm. Is she feminist? Are they planning to have children in the future? Trump wants a baby boom in America. But if she is a feminist mind virus, I don't need no man. I'm a strong independent woman. All men are trash. Her are not going to have children, so we're going to get even more of a perfect storm. And as a result, what Trump president means for schools, discouraging post-pandemic schools and more. the more and more children are not going to be enrolling, and we're going to get this problem, and this is going to come to America because South Korea is ahead of the curve. So it's all down to women not wanting to have children with guys who are suitable for them, good, honest guys, and they'd rather chase the bad boys. And this is the result. And you see all these women on TikTok saying that they can't get any dates, and this is what is happening. It's the first wind of the storm. Remember, 2030, 48 or 52% of American women are going to be single and childless. So where's all the children coming to fill up American schools? It's going to get interesting as we run up to 2030, so I'll see if I can find some more on this topic. But for now, I think I'm well over the 10-minute mark, probably 15, could be 20 minutes. So you know the routine, people, completely up to you. But as it says, there's a perfect storm could change America's public schools for years to come, and we all know what the cause of it is, don't we? Right, that's it for this one. Till next Monday. Bye-bye.